Hello everyone. Well, today we're going to take what we've learned about drawing objects in three-dimensional space using a one-point perspective, and we're going to draw this house with a yard and a tree and a tree house. Here we have our piece of paper. I've taped mine down because I feel like I've been moving it around and it's getting off camera a little bit. But you should feel free to move your paper around however it helps you to draw your lines with your rulers. All right, let's start with our horizon line. Let's go about 4 inches down from each side. Do 4 inches there and 4 inches here. And we're gonna kind of lightly draw in this horizon line so we know where that is. And on that horizon line is gonna be our disappearing point. Just come over a little bit like that. Okay, so let us draw, we're gonna draw our house around here. So let's draw a line a couple inches long, about 2 inches long, about halfway across the page. Come over here, come down from your horizon line a little bit, and just drop in a line. Vertical line, about 2 inches long. All right, so this is gonna be the corner of our house that's closest to us. So we go from the bottom of the line and align that with our disappearing point. Put your pencil on the point, bring your ruler to it, then rotate till you get to the bottom of that line. And we're gonna go a ways. We're not gonna go all the way here. We're just gonna draw the side of our house. So just like there to there. That's good enough. Are we in focus? Let's focus a little more. There we go. All right, so the other back wall is gonna be a vertical line too. We don't know exactly how high to make it, so let's draw it lightly to start. And then we line with our disappearing point, the top of the front corner, hit that over there and stop. All right, so now we know how high the front of the house is and how high the back of the house is. And we've drawn a nice rectangle in this world. And these lines are parallel to each other. In 2 dimensions, they're not parallel, but in this world, these are 2 parallel lines. So let's draw the front of the house. Let's do the front edge, the front bottom edge here. Send that over there. It's about a couple inches to the end of your page. And then a parallel line to that at the top of the wall. Yep. Then just connect with a vertical line. Remember, you guys can pause anytime if I'm going too fast. Try and keep my video not too long. Okay, so the ridge of the roof is going to be halfway between these 2 walls. So how do we find the halfway point in any rectangle? That's right. X marks the spot. Connect the corners, align with the corners. And where those lines cross is the center of this shape. All right, so let's send a vertical line up to mark the center of that wall. And pick how high, what kind of roof slope you want. You want it not sloped very much, you want it sloped, you know, kind of 1-to-1 there, or do you have like a super tall house, like a storybook house, an old English type of house? We're just gonna do it right about there. Align and connect. Align and connect. Oh, my ruler moved. It moved a little bit, but that's okay. This is just a guideline. This tape stuck in my ruler. Okay. So, just for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna copy this same slope over here. I think that slope will be really a little bit different in reality, but just for the sake of our purposes here, we're just gonna say that's the same slope. And now it gets connected with the horizontal line. Boom, there we go. We've just roughed in our house. But this time we're gonna draw some more interesting details. We're gonna do stuff for our house to draw things like the yard around it, and the sidewalk and whatnot. And we're gonna start with a fence. We're gonna define the backyard of this house. I'm gonna show you how interesting it is to build off of your drawings. So from this center line we created, let's draw a horizontal line that goes out like this, out here. What is that? That, my friends, is going to be a fence. Fencing off the back wall. So, let's see here. A fence isn't as tall as a house, but it's more than halfway. So, just pick a spot more than halfway up that line and draw another horizontal line over. Alright, so let's pick where the corner of our fence is going to be. We need room for like a gate to get through. So we'll just pick that. Alright, that's the front of our fence. Now here's the fun part. The fence wraps around and heads on down the street. So, let's draw a line. Whoosh. There it goes. A line with the disappearing point to do the top of the fence. Send that back too. Alright, now we've got some depth going here, don't we? Draw the back edge of the fence. Doesn't go all the way to infinity. But look at that. As we go, we can see, we will actually see the back of the fence wrap around our house. So send it back there. What about here? We can see the bottom, right? Well, we can't see it here because the fence is blocking it, but we can align with this corner. Put your pencil on that bottom corner there. Bring the ruler up to it. Don't draw here because that's behind the fence, but where it starts to show would be right there. All right. Now look at all the depth we've created. You can picture going through this gate and then run around that yard back there. Wacky. So, as you might guess, we can't see the house where the fence is here. So we erase that. That looks a little more realistic. Oh, let's just get rid of that line in general. Don't really need it. And we can reinforce this line. Yep. And let's actually draw the gate. The gate doesn't usually shut right against the house. You give it a little post here for it to latch to. And then draw about a person's width, a little wider. That'll be our gate. And as we go, we're going to add more little details, more freehand drawing details. So that's the backyard. Here's the front yard. Well, what goes along the fence? Well, let's drop in a sidewalk. And let's say the sidewalk does go all the way to the disappearing point. Let's draw a line here. There comes a sidewalk. Let's guesstimate a width, maybe about as wide as that gate is. Again, align with the disappearing point. So just don't think about back here, don't think about up here, just think about what makes sense if you're this deep into the picture. If you're walking up to that fence, probably be about as wide as that gate that we drew. So right there is about the right width. That means everything else must be in the right place. There's our sidewalk. Okay, very nice. And let's say the sidewalk curves. Let's say there's a bend in the sidewalk. Like they're on a corner. It's a corner house. So let's go ahead and draw. I'm going to draw the. I've got to give them some kind of a yard. So I'm actually going to draw. I'm going to cross these lines like that. There's the front. We know sidewalks have a lot of. We can guesstimate the squares on the sidewalk. Add those in. So they should just get a little thinner because they're getting a little smaller the farther you get away. So I'm just kind of guesstimating and dropping these in. Get little, till they get teeny, tiny. Can't even see them. All right, now that really looks like it's going away. And what about the lines on the sidewalk here? Well, they're going to stay about the same width, but the lines across them all head for this disappearing point. So like, yeah. Like, y'all. And like that. There we go. We've got our sidewalk. And actually, there should be a curb there. Really, there should be a curb. A little thin curb. And then that goes vertically down. So put two lines here into the street. So as you go over, just to show you what that shape really is. Sometimes there are seams in the curb, actually, some expansion cracks that kind of go over and down. over and down. Boop. I'm just freehanding these because they're so little. All right, there you go. Let's even put one lined up with this expansion joint right there. Over and down. Okay. How about some windows? How about a door? Yeah, let's put a door in the center of this wall. I think we've done this before, right? Let's make this X. There we go. So here's our center line. And we'll put a door there, and we'll put a window on each side of the door. So how do we find the center of the center? We've cut this in half. Well, guess what? We can do the same trick. Just ignore that. Here's our new rectangle. So our new rectangle has its own center, and it's right there. Right here. So horizontally and vertically, that's the center of this shape. And we can do the same thing over here. I'm drawing light because obviously I don't want my house to have all these crazy lines all over it. But I do want to know where the center is. Okay. So what we can do now, I'll show you a little trick. Let's figure out about the height of the door. It doesn't go all the way to the top, and it's not halfway, and it's probably a little taller than the fence, actually, because I'm going to tell you what, let's put a little patio on the front. Let's put a patio. We're going to define, come up about curb height. Let's just say from this line to that line, there's going to be a little patio on the front. We'll deal with that later. Right now, we're going to work on this door. So the door should be taller than that gate. I'm going to say it's right here. Not too far up, because we're actually going to make this roof overhang a little bit. So I don't want to cover up the top of my door. Let's put the door there. Now I'm going to draw a horizontal line from here to there. So because these are equal, where this line intersects and that line intersects, these should be the same length. This line and that line should be equal in length. That means not only is my door centered, but I've got the same amount coming this way, the same amount going that way. So the door should be the right size. And there we go. We're using that geometry. Maybe that's a little wide for the door, but that's okay. Maybe that's the door frame. So coming in from there, we can guesstimate a little thickness there. Let's guesstimate a little thickness here. We can approximately get them the same width as each other. There we go, door frame. All right, now we wanted to center our windows here, and the doors, did I lead you astray? Are these doors taking up more space than we wanted? Well, let's just go ahead and use the center line here for the side of our window. So let's set the height of the window as the top of the door, because windows and doors go up to the same height. They just don't go down to the same depth. Let's go not halfway. That's too skinny for a window. Let's come down a little bit like this. Let's just draw a guideline that goes across to both. Okay, well, let's examine what we have to work with here. We'd like some symmetry, so let's look at where this diagonal crosses the horizontal and this diagonal. Let's just use that as the outside corner of our window. Send that down. Where this crosses, send that down. So that gives us an equal amount of space on both sides. And then let's just use this line here that we use for the edge of our patio as the other side of the window. There we go. So I've got two equal windows, a door that's centered, and you know what? The same frame that's around the door should be around the window. That should match. Yaw and yaw. Let's guesstimate. At least we can guesstimate both at the same time. When we do the horizontal. Verticals, we got to drop each one individually. Okay, doors and windows. We got a lot of racing to do, don't we? Erase, erase, erase. Erase. Let's keep that for a minute because let's just do it now. Because where that line intersects tells us the top and bottoms of windows, even on this side, because let's wrap this line around using our disappearing point. So wrap it around, send it that way. Not all the way, we're just going to go to the halfway point there. And the bottom window wraps around. Now let's just pick a random size. Between here and the gate, we're just going to guesstimate. Blah and yaw. And again, the frame should match. So we can actually look at these, make a little dot there. Look at these, make a little dot there. Now we know our frame will match if we use our disappearing point. So I line up with the dot on the corner, but I only draw it in the middle of the window. Remember to pause if I'm going too fast. Middle of the window. Yeah. Come down. Come down. All right, matchy matchy. Isn't that nice? And isn't that make your architecture look more professional? All right, let's erase that. I apologize. My drawing board is wiggling. Doop, 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 doop. So many construction lines. It's okay if you erase some of the lines you want to keep too, because we'll just come back and draw it nice and heavy. You could even ink it with an ink pen. Once we have everything where we want it, you could trace all lines you want to keep with an ink pen and then just erase like crazy. And you won't erase the pen, you'll only erase the pencil lines. Dip, dip, dip. All right, what was I saying about this patio here?
I dropped my pencil. It's okay, I got another one.
All right, so we're going to define this patio using our disappearing point. Same disappearing point comes up. I use my pencil to align it, and I come up to the bottom corner. Meep. Shouldn't go all the way to the sidewalk, because patios don't go that way. You can do a walkway to the sidewalk, but a patio should stay. All right, we're going to lightly draw this corner, because we're not going to see that back corner, because it lifts up. And draw horizontal. There's the front of it. It's going to come up vertically. The same amount of there. How high? Well, let's check with a disappearing point. Do. Line that up. That gives us this edge. So that's how tall it is on the front. And we can send that measurement across the front, like so. And I didn't draw that far enough, but where this bottom edge connects, disappearing point, bottom edge, do, boop. All right, that tells me where the far edge of this is. Right here. I almost drew it long enough. Not quite. All right, one more line to draw, but look at this. We drew it completely transparent. But that's because we needed to know where the house was, where we're starting from. I'm just going to erase this now before I draw on that one last line. As long as I keep that point, I know how to finish up the porch. It should line it from there to there, and it does. There we go. Let's strengthen that. Okay. So, there's our porch, and let's make a little walkway. Little walkway. Now, I should have kept that line because that tells me how wide the door is, but I can guesstimate. And do a little point down from the edge of that door frame to where this line would be if I hadn't erased it on both sides. Because if I line that up, that will give me a pathway that's the same width as the door, but I'm only going to draw it from there to the sidewalk. Pathway. Bloop. It's centered, and it's the same width as a door, which in this world is the width of a person. All right. Put back the line I just erased. And even, you might even prefer to draw things back freehand, because you can give your drawing a handmade feel, but still have it all accurate. Is that a little doorknob? How about a mail slot? Maybe they have a mail slot in the door. What would that be? Horizontal line? Horizontal line? Vertical? Vertical. Do. Oh, maybe they're sending a letter out. There's a letter hanging out. 2 letters. Why not? Do. All right, we've got our gate. We've got our fence. All right. Now what's really going to make your house look a little more professional, a little more realistic, is that traditionally a lot of houses, some houses here in Burbank, you will notice, have no overhang, which is not very good for when it does rain. It doesn't rain very often, but when it does, you want to keep that rain off your walls. So what we do is extend our roof extend it past the edge. And then what that creates is an overhang. So I'm going to copy this slope and bring it over to that line I just poked out. Then I'm going to copy this slope, bring it over to meet at the top here. Zoop. And this is just a horizontal line, so we guesstimate how far it's hanging over. Send it over that way. And if we want to make both these even, we can use our disappearing point to tell us if the front of the roof overhangs this much, then the back hangs out this much, which is coincidentally about where I drew it. Draw it horizontally, and that goes around the corner. It goes around behind the house. So we don't see that part of the fence anymore. And really there's no line here on the house. And we don't even see this front edge of the roof anymore. What used to be our front edge, we replaced with a new front edge that overhangs. Ah, doesn't that look a little more familiar? A little more like houses you see when you go for a walk? Horizontal we don't need. This vertical we don't actually need. We only need it where the fence touches. Let's strengthen some of these lines. They're getting erased. Falling prey to the eraser. Doobly drop. Even reinforce this one. Okay, so same deal over here. We're going to copy this. Send it out as far as we want it to overhang. And there you go. Goes there. Now we erase all this part that we don't see anymore. And the horizon line, obviously. We don't see the horizon through the house. How about a chimney? Put a chimney on the far. We'll just pretend it's on the far side of the house somewhere. It's poking up through the roof. That's pretty simple. Just do a vertical line up. Let's do the thickness of our chimney. Boop. But now let's make it 3D. Hold on, I'll put a top on it. Top. Let's make it 3D. Send it towards a disappearing point on this side. Yeah, that's how it would go. And down again. There you go. Now, for some real fun, haven't you always wanted to have a tree house? Oh yeah, who doesn't want a tree house? Well, let's come over here and just put a box up in the sky. A box? Yeah, a box. Just like that. And we're going to turn that into a treehouse. Looks like a Minecraft sun, but no, it's a box. It's a box and it's above the horizon line because it's up in the tree. So we're going to actually see the bottom of it. Extend the sides just like we did the side of our house. And the back is still a vertical line straight up and down. But yeah, we're seeing the bottom. All right, I'm going to draw this lightly because we're going to add the tree in after the house. Normally, when you build a tree house, you need the tree first. It's really hard to just build something floating in the air and hope a tree grows. It takes forever too. Much better to find a pre-grown tree. Alright, boom, there's our floating box. You could just stop now and have an anti-gravity magic treehouse, but you probably don't want to do that. Let's put a hole in the bottom where the tree is growing through. So we're just guesstimating. The great thing about a treehouse is it doesn't have to live up to certain building codes or anything. It could be a little lopsided. The hole in the bottom doesn't need to be centered or anything. All right, so we've drawn this gap, and in this gap is where the tree grows, and this tree is going to be in our backyard. So it's going to go behind the fence and come up into there. So I'm just going to draw half of it like this, like that. And here's the other side. It's going to be about that thick when it gets there. I'll draw this one more lightly. I'll tell you why. It goes all the way up into the tree, and it comes down like that. It just happens to be near that corner. That looks weird. That should go straight up like that. All right. So that's the gap. It's kind of a skinny tree for a treehouse, but that's okay. Let's draw another branch. Something to kind of catch this side here. Kind of draw like that. And then this one kind of comes up. They start out thicker and then they get narrower and narrower, obviously. We'll just kind of, there's a branch. That looks more like it'll hold up a treehouse. And we got the tree blocking the fence. But now we got the fence that's close to us, the fence that's moving away, the fence that's behind, and now we see the tree is between these two fences. So now, let's just draw in the foliage, the leafy leaves of the tree. Just draw a big puffy cloud on top. Just like that. Let's indicate the leaves. And what we're going to do is draw a bunch of stripes. Let's pretend these are made out of a bunch of boards. A bunch of old random boards that left over from an old construction project. Those we just draw horizontally. These all have to obey the disappearing point. 1, 2. But again, they don't have to be perfectly sized. Some might be thicker than others. It's all just random scrap. There we go. And gotta have a window so you can see out, enjoy this view. So let's just pick a couple boards to go between. And those are just shorter boards right there. And it creates an opening. Let's do another one on the side. This will be much smaller, harder to see, but that's okay. There we go. So, and because these are all random boards, you should actually draw, or one board stops and the next one begins. Kind of like if you're drawing an old boat or something. It's made of a bunch of overlapping boards. And you can even trace them, make them a little wiggly waggly. Put some, make them a little uneven, give it a little handmade look. Maybe this one's like sticking out like that. Long. All right, same with this side here. Let's put a seam right in the middle there. Let's put a seam here. And even the bottom is made out of different pieces like that, flat. Oh, we would see a thickness here though, wouldn't we? We'll just draw in this thickness. Like that, the thickness of the floor. But this is all dark inside here. You can't really see that far in. Spooky, mysterious. What are the kids up to in the playhouse? There. Making plans. Maybe they're drawing. It's possible. Let's dress up the place. Add some bushes. Might be a bush right here. You can always add a bush, just erase what's behind it. The bush, having a nice bush right here. Can't be too big or it'll block the path to the backyard through the fence. How to make the fence more realistic? Well, let's put a handle on it. kind of like that. A little handle. And some hinges. A lot of weight to support on a fence gate. There's the hinges. And really, the fence should be made up of a bunch of boards too. But you can add that yourself. The boards just need to get closer and closer together as they go off in the distance. All right, I think we've done pretty well. Like I said, we can go by hand, we can strengthen these lines. What you do, you can even add, let's add some little grids, they call them, in the windows. Disappearing point. Grids in the windows. Halfway, if you want to be precise, you could find the halfway mark, but I'm fairly confident I can guesstimate something that looks like the corner. And yeah, now enjoy, add color, add more details, add characters, add frisbee on the roof. Oh no, we've lost our frisbee. Where'd it go? We can't even see it from the treehouse. Where's our frisbee? All right. Hey, whoa, almost forgot. I mean, how are you going to get up in that treehouse? This is crazy. We got to either draw a rope ladder or like a rope to climb. It would be a lot of stairs. But the easiest thing to draw would just be how they just took some boards and nailed them into the tree. Oh, poor tree. You're okay. You're just a cartoon tree. You'll be fine. So it's actually, we can go the other way around. We can add gaps where we know we're going to have them. Erase some gaps in the side of the tree. That way you don't have to try and erase inside your board, because it's a thin board. And I'm just drawing these freehand, not using my ruler. And they're kind of going at wackadoo angles, because, you know, kids nailed them in. Hopefully they're careful when they're climbing up this treehouse. This treehouse is very, very high in the air. If you're paying attention to scale, I think Mom and Dad might say this tree is too tall to build your treehouse in. It's crazy. But that's okay. When you're inventing worlds and you're drawing stuff,
You can build as high a tree house as you like.
you can have little telescopes sticking out. Maybe there's even like a pole here where they've got a pulley. So they could send down a bucket. They got a bucket to get supplies, or what's the password kind of thing. Oops, that should be attached there. So think about all kinds of inventions you can do with your treehouse. If you don't have a good tree in your yard and you don't have the materials to make a treehouse, draw a treehouse. Let your imagination go crazy. Draw a dozen treehouses. All right. Now, I think we're set. All right. See you next time.